Okay, we are on the Gamescom 2025 and now we are having a look at the game as Spacecraft, and with me is
Dylan
and
Sylvain.
Okay, yeah, what have you brought with you for the Gamescom, and what can you show us?
So today we'll be showing Spacecraft. Spacecraft is an online space exploration game with a heavy focus on industry, mining resources, producing different items, and player-driven economy.
Okay, let's jump in.
Yeah. So Sylvain will be playing through the game at the moment. So this, so what we're showing you now is the tutorial gameplay. So this is the first thing that players will see when jumping into the game. It covers the basic gameplay loop of Spacecraft.
So far I've read it's like a mass multiplayer online game.
So we're avoiding using the MMO description, but it is online multiplayer.
Why are you avoiding it? What is the difference?
So we're aware that MMO games have a sort of certain standards within the community. There's like certain expectations, and we're trying to do something different. Even though it is online with a lot of players, we're not trying to build an MMO in the traditional sense of the description.
Okay. Yeah, but it's an online game and you play with other players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now we are just flying towards a lunar surface, and what are we doing there?
So now Sylvain, he'll be collecting some basic resources. We've got some iron ore and copper ore that we need to find. So this showcases the basic mining loop. So at the beginning, when you need to gather resources, it'll all be manual. This then changes later on in the game once you've scaled up, have enough resources to build a factory, have enough money to maintain your own sort of tools as well. So at the moment he's using a basic mining laser, but we also have a variety of different resources. Some will have like a hardened shell around them, so a mining laser won't be able to penetrate that. You might need like a missile to break it open and then gain access to the resource. You might have resources that are in a gas form, so you'll need special collectors. You might also need special transportation, not devices but modules, because some might be flammable, they might explode as well.
What can we do with these resources?
So we'll show you the loop after as well, but the idea is to process them and then use them in crafting recipes to craft more advanced resources or items. So we'll look at the permit tree as well, which gives you an overview of what players can unlock during the game. Items can be put on your ship, like the module of the radar and the mining laser module. This can upgrade your ship's capabilities and will allow you to do different things. You can specialize this, but also you might have some items like you can use for buildings in your base as well. You might have some specific items as well. Because it's an economy, you will trade with other players. So maybe Sylvain, in a special case scenario, he might not have found any iron. Of course, he'll do this in the tutorial, but later on, if he needs some iron, he might be able to buy it from some players on the marketplace. So now he's completed the first part of the tutorial, which is the resource gathering, and we're heading back to the space station. Space stations are like a central hub where players can have access to specific services, like we just talked about with the resources, where you can refine them using the smelter and then craft new items with the workshop. You can also store resources. And then the shipyard as well, where you'll be able to craft new ship parts and add them to your ship.
No, obviously we are. This is a space station. What is the function of this?
So, like I just said, it's the main area where you will find the services that will allow you to smelt resources, to craft items. Also a shipyard which stocks your ships that you've built and allows you to edit them. You will also have in some special stations some narrative areas as well. So you might have like a specific level with a storyline or things that the players can do. You might have NPC factions that are there as well.
Yeah, we have just seen something like a tech tree.
Yeah, this is the permit tree that we were telling you about. So this showcases the crafting recipe progression for players. So you have these different, more advanced modules, and it's linked to different progression that the player has. So we can progress in like exploration, science, industry, the social aspect, which is the different corporations that players can create and invite other players to join them.
Now we found the smelter and do what we do with a smelter.
Yeah, so there's two modes. There's like the automatic and the manual mode. Automatic just keeps the resources being processed. You have to stay in the screen for the resources to be like smelted, and some might take longer. So you can see there's the like progress bar at the bottom, and that can take longer for different types of resources at the moment.
Will we eventually automate that?
Yes, so we'll show you that later on, which will be the automated bases. It's something that players will get to do at around, I think, maybe 15-20 hours of gameplay. It depends on how they begin the game and what they focus on first. But building a base is definitely like a core part of Spacecraft. It's more of like a resource outpost, where you'll build an outpost on top of resource deposits, and then you can then extract those resources and process them in this same gameplay.
Now we are creating some more advanced stuff. What exactly are we creating and why?
So at the moment, Sylvain's crafting a small module kit. This was unlocked in the permit tree that we just saw. And this will be to build the Scanalizer Alpha. So the Scanalizer Alpha is a spacecraft module. It'll allow you to scan unknown resources that you can then either mine, or if they're unmineable, because some resources just can't be mined, they're more like landmarks or not necessarily places of interest, but it's just similar interesting things so that you discover a planet. We'll then put it on a ship as well now in the shipyard. Yeah, so we'll actually switch to a different save now, which is the better showcases the ship editor with a more advanced ship.
In the meantime, can you tell us something about the background story of the universe?
Yeah, so I don't remember the exact year this happened, but humanity loses a war against a faction, and they escape through a portal, which you can see in the first trailer that we put out for Spacecraft in December 2024. So humanity escapes and starts to build anew in a sort of pioneer ambience where players have to gather resources, expand throughout this new galaxy, and uncover new secrets.
So, and are we still the generation that fled?
No, I'm pretty sure you're like one generation after, or a couple of generations after. So now we're looking at the ship editor. So this is slightly more advanced. There's three parts to it. There's the assembly, the tools, and the customization. So the tools are the modules. So when you're in this window, you'll only be moving the modules. You can add things like a small cargo hold or a battery. These increase your ship's capacity in the different aspects. And then if we go into the assembly, you can move around the core build of the spacecraft. So at the moment, Sylvain will be adding a new engine.
You can just put it on anywhere?
More or less, yeah. Yeah.
Does it have an effect? Like, is there physics calculation with it where you place it?
No, there's no physics calculation with the placement of like modules and stuff, but you do have like ship integrity, and that depends on the size of the ship as well. So there are a couple of parameters in the specs window. The main ones that players will have to really focus on at the beginning are the system support and system requirement. So system support, as the name says, is how many modules, how much energy your ship can support, and then system requirements are how many modules you actually have on. So if system requirements are higher than system support, some modules won't work as efficiently. If the gap gets too large, then they won't work at all. So at the moment, Sylvain, he will increase the system support. Yeah, he's increased it by a bit.
I have increased it by putting a bigger piece of ship, basically. And I could increase it again, but okay, let's do it. It's fine. It's gonna be a slightly ugly ship, but we're allowed to do that. Exactly.
That's not a problem. We are experts on building squarey things.
On support, and we are no problem. And now maybe we can change a bit the color of the ship. So let's do something like that. We have a few palettes which are suggestions for color, but you can mix them however you want. Something like that, for instance. And you can also select a single piece of ship and change this color by itself. Then you can also change the name of the ship, of course. And I think that's about it for the... Oh, wait. This part is not well connected. That's about it for the ship editor. So let's see if the ship fly well.
Does the ship design influence the handling characteristics?
So yes, the parts that compose the ship influence the characteristics. The shape of the ship does not influence characteristics, but it's something that we want to add during early access later in the development.
Okay, but certainly like the general statistics like weight and thrust and engines, they will make a difference.
Yes, but it depends on the amount of parts that you use to build the ship, and indeed, weightier ship will move slower or need more engine to go at the same speed, obviously, and we have a lot of things like that, indeed, in the ship editor.
Okay. Next, we are loading which part?
Now we're loading a latest save, which showcases bases, resource outposts, and the automation of those outposts.
So we are on a planet, and we are seeing some kind of building. Reminds me a little bit of something we would also see in Satisfactory or the like. Is there some connection?
I mean, Spacecraft covers a lot of different genres: exploration, automation, and things like that. So there definitely are inspirations from other games in those in that aspect. But we have worked on having our own distinctive art style that blends these, that gives a certain ambiance to the game as well.
But the idea is also similar in that we are actually building a small factory, and that's probably also where the automation that you've announced earlier is coming into play.
Yeah, so at the moment you can see there's drones that are transporting the different resources from an extractor to a smelter, and then to, I think it's an assembler. So this gameplay loop at the beginning, when you start out with your first base, you will only have enough resources to build one extractor, and so you'll have to manually gather the resources from there and then put them in a smelter yourself and do that part yourself. This then scales up to the point where we've seen Sylvain show off the drones and the automation. It then further scales up to like a planetary level, where you'll have bases on different planets because there are resources on different planets that you might need. And so instead of automating drones from one building to another, you'll automate cargo ships from one planet to another.
So we also have a little bit of a transportation game as a like a side game.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't necessarily call it a side game, but it is part of the gameplay loop. And if we mentioned corporations earlier, which players grouping together. Players might assign themselves different jobs. So you might have someone that's in charge of going out and finding resource deposits for the corporation. They might have built a faster, more enduring spaceship to go further into the galaxy and find these special resource nodes. You might have someone that really enjoys building and automating factories and will then travel to these places, set up the base. And you might have a transporter that will transport the cargo.
Okay, yeah, what are we going to do next?
Now we've more or less covered the basic gameplay loop. So do you have any specific questions yourself?
Well, what is the ongoing motivation for the game? Like, obviously, base building is pretty clear, but are there more things like factions, fighting, and groups that you get into and things?
Yeah, so there are NPC factions. There's a sort of narrative storyline. So we mentioned the backstory to the game as well. You may be able to uncover some secrets about that. There is some PvE combat as well with space pirates that might attack your trade routes and transportation routes. You also have some FPS combat, although it's very sort of not necessarily low scale, but you're fighting critters, which are like some insectoid aliens in like hand-to-hand combat. There isn't necessarily gunplay in the game. So yeah, that's sort of different added elements. The idea is to build a solid baseline of content for the early access release, and then we'll build upon that during early access, as well as take into account player feedback.
How do you manage these bases in conjunction with multiplayers? Like, who can do what in bases they don't belong to themselves?
Do you have any info on that?
Yeah, so basically, if it's your base as a single player, I mean, nobody else can do anything to it. But you will form cooperation between players, so some kind of guild play, if you want, and some base can belong to a corporation instead of a player, and then everyone from the corporation can do things in that base, and there will be a system of permission, you know, so and different ranking inside the corporation. So some people might be allowed to use the base, some might not be allowed to use the base, depending of how these permissions are set up.
So do you have a kind of instance-like system where you or your guild is in one place, or is it a unified universe for everyone? I mean, like, if it's multiplayer with many players, is it the same world, the same persistent world for all players of the game, or are there small instances for people who are playing single player or playing with just a group of friends?
So you can only play on a multiplayer server. There will be more than one multiplayer server. Like we don't know exactly yet how many players there will be by server, but we're thinking something along 1,000 players in each server. And so yeah, you can only play on our server. Basically, you cannot play in single player. Yeah, in a private server.
We'll have single player instances, not necessarily single player instances, but instances where you will be the only player inside them, like the space station where we were looking at the ship editor and we were using the smelter.
Okay, yeah. I think that's pretty much all the questions I have in the moment, and we already have also covered a significant length. So then, thank you very much for your time.
Your questions.
And the final question is, maybe publish the interview that we've just recorded.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much.